My name's Bex. I am head of production at Girls in Film, and I'm going to chair this panel with everyone. I've met Nosa before. We've done some online panels. Thea, it's my first time meeting you. India and Ella, first time meeting you guys. So thank you all so much for joining us. Do you want to start by just going around and telling everyone your name and what it is that you do?
Okay, cool. My name is Ella Izike. I am a director and photographer, and yeah, that's me.
Hello, I'm India. I'm a creative producer. I do sort of commercials, stills, and more recently narrative.
I'm Thea. I'm a writer and director.
I'm Nosa, and I'm a writer-director.
Thanks so much, everyone. I thought a really horrible question to kick off with would be, what is the hardest project that you've made? Like the biggest struggle?
Go on, babes.
Oh wow! Damn, we're doing it like that. Okay. I did a TV show for Channel 4 last year, and that was the hardest thing for sure. Mainly down to the time. So it was like a 38-page script for 23 minutes of TV, and we had 5 half days to shoot it. So, yeah.
How did you overcome the barriers that you felt?
Kind of the I guess experience of doing a bunch of short films. I think short films are harder to do actually than TV, in my opinion, because it's you have to, I guess, plan more and be precise. You can't just show up on a short film and wing it, or maybe you can, but I can't. So, yeah, it was basically having a really planned out shot list, basically 2 shot lists, like the wish list one, and then the one that if we have half an hour to go, this is the shot list I'm using now. So, yeah.
How many of your nice to haves did you get?
What?
I feel like everyone kind of does this with their shot list. They're the priority and then the nice to haves. Did you get many of the nice to haves in the end?
Got a few, yeah.
And you guys are just about to wrap on a short film, aren't you?
Yes, but that wasn't, for me, I felt like that wasn't that difficult because I had a team, whereas with my first short film, that was a bit more DIY and run and gun. I self-funded it, and I went into it not really knowing how to make a film. I was just like, I'm gonna make a film because I'm sad and I need an outlet. And so what I essentially did was reach out to co-collab or ex-collaborators and people that I hadn't worked with before. But to get people to believe in your idea is the hard part, and then to get people to jump on board is also difficult because you're navigating different schedules, you're navigating different opinions, and it was stressful, but we got there in the end. So yeah, making my first short film was the most difficult, I feel. Yeah, because you just need your own kind of belief and gumption in the project. So yeah.
What about you, Thea?
I'm doing my feature at the moment, and so I think that has been difficult. Well, it is difficult, obviously, but the script process, particularly because it's based on my dad and his life, and it's a narrative, but I think there was, when I first started writing it, and it was in development, there was a stage where I had to decide, what best serves the story over, the truth of what happened, and there was a struggle with if art imitates life, then why is real life not good enough for the film? And then my editor at the time was just oh, free yourself from the truth, which I thought was a really good quote. And then after that, I was able to work through it. But yeah, it was quite difficult to navigate that, especially with such a long form piece of writing as well. Yeah, and figuring out whose perspective to tell it from. In the end, I went with my dad's perspective, but there was a lot of push and pull within myself as well to decide, yeah, whose perspective to best tell it from.
Yeah, that sounds like therapy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's weird though because the characters, although they're based on real people, they become their own people in their own right. So yeah, it doesn't really feel like, oh, that's my dad or that's me. Yeah, they kind of take on a life of their own.
Nice, exciting. And what do you think, India? What's the most tricky project for you?
I mean, from a slightly different angle, maybe more from a production logistics angle. I did a short film last year, I think it was, and it was a dance film, and we were shooting Marcelino Sambe, who's like the head of the Royal Ballet School, who was amazing. And we'd been planning it for about 6 months, and the whole film was shot from the perspective of a drone, right? And we had like serious pilots, like a whole like aviation unit to shoot the thing. So we went to the location like 3 or 4 times. We did like all the tests, like really rigorous planning. And so by the time we got there, by the way, it was also January and snowing and COVID and a night shoot on a very, very small short film budget. And we get there and we have the whole like aviation unit like tell us what's going to go on. We had like a safety briefing. We had like neon signs. You know, there was like takeoff for this drone. Also, the Alexa camera was like on the drone. That's like the big boy camera, right? So we get there and it's the first shot and Marcelino Sambe's there and the drone goes up and we're looking at the monitor and it's like the most beautiful shot, right? And then suddenly it like catches the end of like a tree and it just goes and it just like explodes down the tree. And we're like, Marcelino, run! Like, it was so crazy. And I'm sitting there being like, I spent 6 months on this, oh my God. Like, this is the first shot of the night with an 8-hour shoot, like, coming, by the way. Anyway, Thea and I were talking about this thing before, which is called Murphy's Way, or?
Murphy's Law.
Murphy's Law, right? So you always have to plan for, like, the worst possible thing. Even though I had, like, a team of 6 pilots operating this drone, I was like, before, I was like, maybe I should get, like, 6 really high-voltage torches in case the drone doesn't work and we have to shoot the thing on the ground. Anyway, we did. We shot the whole thing on the ground for 8 hours in the snow, and it still got into a couple of festivals, and it was fine. But yeah, that was hell. I think my heart actually fell out of my arse when I saw the drone explode. So that's more of a logistical thing than an emotional thing. But anyway, I thought I'd share that with you.
That sounds very hectic, and I think I would have just died. Ella, you spoke about self-funding your most recent film. I know you guys worked on it together and you came up with quite an innovative way of doing that.
Right. No, I didn't self-fund the recent one. That was actually funded, that's my second one, but that was actually funded by another director. My first film was self-funded, and I did that on £800, which isn't a lot. But what I did was essentially, I used my network and I reached out to so many different people. A lot of people didn't even open my email or my DMs. Like, they were just like, who's this girl? Like, relax, babe. But I literally just like, I messaged, collaborators. I even messaged new ones, like my editor, Lainey. I reached out to her and she was so enthusiastic about my first brief. And she was like, yeah, I'm done. Like, let's do it. And now she's working with me on my second one. So, just like, and she's a babe. So, just like reaching out to people, having a healthy amount of delusion and just having a sick brief and just fucking do it. Yeah.
Healthy delusion. Way forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know you were talking about how you decided to pay people on this film. I think that's a really interesting way of doing it, and I'm totally going to take it with me and go forward like that. But tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it was a 2-day shoot on, a challenging budget, as these things are. And we thought, like, what's the fairest way to do this and get everybody paid and everyone feel a part of it? So we kind of did like a bit of a commie route. We paid every single person on set £150, from the runner to the DOP to the person driving the van to the editor. And we thought, if everybody's in it and everyone knows on set that we're like totally equal going into this thing, it creates like a really special environment. And it worked, and everyone was down for it. And I think it was a really beautiful experience, wasn't it, Ella? Yeah. So
I think it's so nice, like, when you're doing a project like that, to kind of eradicate any kind of hierarchy.
Absolutely, 100%. And also just being super, like, honest with your crew, and like you really, as a director anyway, for me and India, we were kind of like the heart and the enthusiasm of the project. And when people see that, they're like, yeah, I want to be involved. So just having that kind of like, that warmth and that love towards your project will, hopefully get people on side. And that's what
It's all about
happened.
the energy.
Yeah, exactly.
And Nosa and Thea, as writer-directors, what is kind of your go-to, like your first point of call when you want to get something off the ground and funded?
Producer?
I guess a little bit as well. Like I feel like sometimes when people are starting out, they've got something that they want, and then they're like, just need a producer. But I think there's different types of producers.
Yeah.
Finding the right person.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, when I did my first short, I didn't have a producer. I just used my network. It was, I guess, my kind of the person who I looked to. I guess, what am I saying? The person who was the Can I
It's
speak?
okay, babe, it's okay.
Can I speak? The person in that position for me was the DOP, and just having, I think as long as you have someone who believes in the project as much as you do, so in that case with my film run, we didn't have a crew basically. Well, we did, but it was me, him, and a sound recordist, and that was it. And I remember just wanting to make the film, and I put a little call out similar to what you were saying, and just tried to gather a network. And I already knew him, and he messaged me why haven't you asked me? But again, it was just I felt like he was too good to work with me and whatever. Anyway, he liked the script, and we just got to it basically. So I think in the absence of a producer, or just in the absence of not having the knowledge, which I didn't at the time, of where to go and who to look to, just look to the people around you, regardless of the position that they're in. And yeah, we made something beautiful just out of passion and out of belief, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also, if you don't ask, you won't get. With Kodak, I didn't have, before I made my first short film, I didn't have, a portfolio of moving imagery. I just had a brief and a script, and I sent it to Kodak because I shot my first film in film. And I was like, look, I'm poor, can you please give me film? Obviously, I said it a bit more diplomatic than that, but they essentially sent me 3 rolls of film, and I made it work. So shine your eye and shine it well, as my mom would say.
Bastards have put their prices up as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's just the same as these guys, but I call it professional stalking. There's people that, I definitely surround myself with peers, but then if I, want someone a bit more experienced, I'll hit up people on Twitter, Instagram, that I've looked up to the things that they've done, and I'll just send them again the script or a treatment mood board, and just this is what I'm trying to do, but I really look up to you in this way. Would you be able to help me? And usually people are really, forthcoming with that help if you're specific about what it is that you want to do, and they can tell that you're passionate about it. Nobody is really going to be an arsehole and be like, nah. Do you know what I mean? So be professional in your stalking of finding, people to help you, or even mentors and things like that.
I like that, professional stalking. That's really good.
LinkedIn's great for that. I'm always trying to figure out how old people are when I look on their LinkedIn. Like, when did they graduate from uni? How much
I totally do that as well.
Yeah, it's weird. I need to stop. And when it comes to scripts, and you've got your first draft of a script, that's probably not the first thing you're going to send around, especially if you're doing a feature or something like that. So where have you turned to, and what resources do you find for developing and kind of shaping up a script?
Well, in the feature world, it's a whole different ballgame because it's a lot of money involved, and a lot of people get to have a say on your script. So that is a long process, 3 years of back and forth, 2 to 3 years of development, and depending on who develops it, you get paid to write it, which is great. But you get an editor, and your execs at whatever company you're working with also feedback notes. But in the short film world, shorter content, I think at first, I would say just try not to send it out to too many people, because then you'll just start feeling like, oh, it's not good enough, or this or that. I literally, with Run and my second short film, The Importance of Skin, I might have sent it to one person, which in hindsight, I don't know, maybe it was stupid because I could have made better films if I had whatever. Not that I think they're shit or anything, but just from a, development point of view. But yeah, I didn't, and I think sometimes that's just what you got to do. You just got to be like, you know what, I want to make this, because the more people you get involved, the longer it takes. So I think if you have something you believe in, I would just say just try and make it. Obviously, send it to like your closest friends. Maybe it doesn't even have to be anyone in the industry. Do you know what I mean? Like, stories are for everyone, and I think a well-written story transcends roles and stuff like that. So yeah, I wouldn't try to overthink it too much, especially if there's not like big people who have money in it and stuff. There's no need to get extraneous people involved.
Don't deep it.
Yeah. Don't deep it.
Nosa, what's your experience been with scripts and kind of the writing process?
Yeah, like Fia, I'm in the middle of like doing my feature at the moment as well, and this is like the second year of development. But the first like people that I send it to are always my friends with most scripts, because like, the job that we do is nice, but the people that I'm ultimately trying to like impress is my friends. I want my friends to go and see my films, and like it's nice to have a big audience, but at the end of the day it's them, innit? Yeah. So I'll send it to them, and like if they can just get it from jump and like give me a few little things, then like I'll take it from there. And then after that I have like my usual like suspects of collaborators. So like I have a composer and some producer friends and things like that, and my cinematographer is a big one as well. And I'll just send it to them, and I'll be like, nobody's even funding it yet, but like, are you on board? Like, do you like it? Have you got any notes for me? Things like that. But I don't really ever go out to like the wider industry, because it's literally just what Fia said. So yeah, that's like first point of call.
What about you guys when it comes to initial kind of scripting phase?
I'll give this one to Ella.
I was hoping you would answer that. We're not script guys. I have to be so honest with you. Like, we're quite new to the narrative space, and we're still trying to figure out, our kind of pathway in it. And I think that's so fine. Like, not everyone is gonna. Not everyone is gonna, have the luxury of like, or the ability to write a script. Like I would like to say that I'm a good writer, but writing a script is a completely different game. Like, it's actually tough, and it takes time. And with my first short, I actually reached out to a writer who I worked with at Guap magazine, and she wrote it. And I think that's so fine. Like, know your strengths and know your weaknesses, and just kind of like go from there. But if you don't have the ability to write a script, reach out to writers, or find a script that's already find a script that's already out there in the open, and go from there. So yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. Not every director is a writer, and not every writer is a director. When did you get involved in this project, and like at what stage did you start working together?
So I saw Bluebird, which is Ella's short film that she spoke about, which Girls in Film put out, which is amazing. If you haven't seen it, you should all go see it. And Lainey, who we've mentioned, the editor who's in the audience, put me on to Ella, and I found out her approach, and she was just like, she had a lot of no's, and a lot of people saying, you can't do this, you can't do that, funding, whatever, but she just went and she did it, and it like reignited my like love for filmmaking. I was like, God, I want to work with this girl, like I'm so excited, and in January this year, Ella sent me her treatment, and I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. And yeah, we had a kind of more unconventional approach to making it. In terms of funding, Ella has a working relationship with Akinola Davis, who is amazing, and he kind of acted as a mentor through this, like I said, and he funded it, and he was absolutely brilliant. And yeah, we were able to shoot it by March, and the first treatment was in January, which I think is rare. There's different ways of doing it. If you do the BFI or some of the conventional ways, you might be waiting 6 to 8 months, and I think that's totally fine, or a year, or however long it takes. But I think maybe for this one, in this instance, as new filmmakers, I think as we both are, you know, we actually didn't want to do it that way, and this really worked for us. So I think sometimes doing it that way around could be good. Obviously, later down the line, like going through some of those routes will be so important when we want BBC and Film 4 to jump on board and look at things. Like, can't wait for that. But I think right now, doing it this way was much better.
And also, what was so great about Akinola as well was he was, even though he executive produced it, he was so hands off. Like, he was just like, go and do your thing. We were like, do you want to come to, you know, the rehearsals, the recce's? He was like, do your thing. He just had complete trust in our vision and our abilities, and that was so refreshing, because obviously if someone's putting money into your project, they're going to want to have a bit of, you know, say in what you're doing, and he was just like, do you, babes? And I love that.
He kind of let you have like full autonomy over it. And it was funny, he was like, do you want to come down to set? He was like, no, this is Ella's thing. I just need her to go and do it and make her thing. And I was like, God, that's amazing. So we could just go and do it.
Have someone looking over your shoulder as well.
There was,
knowing that they have faith in you.
There was no one checking in at any stage.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'd be interested to hear from the audience what people have found their barriers to making a project, and like see if someone can help with that or feedback on overcoming those barriers. I don't know if anyone.
Yeah, I've got a few things to say about this. People make it sound like finding a producer is just like you go out to the producer shop and you get a producer and then they make you... I don't know what planet... must live on a different planet, because that does not happen where I live. I find it really hard to get a producer involved in a short film. I don't know if I'm just looking in the wrong place, or if... I don't know what it is, but I think that's more difficult than people like to make out.
I promise you, there's like probably producers sitting around you right now. That's how. Yeah, exactly. It's always, for me, it was just going to these things. Oh, damn. Damn it.
Production is
But like, there'll be some around, you know, when you go to events and stuff, and that's just how I started finding these, mythical producers. It was just, but it wasn't even talking about the work. I literally hate doing that. I just wanted to see if I liked people on like a normal level enough. Yeah, exactly. Enough to be like, yo, we can go out and get some nachos, maybe watch some Buffy, do you know what I mean? That sort of level. And then being like, okay, you're not an asshole. I feel like we vibe. And like, I know you're in this industry. Like, what is it that you do? And okay, you're a producer, cool. Like, maybe we can work on something together. It's literally just going from there rather than going straight on, oh, you're a producer, let's work together. Because also, like, you might not like that person, innit? So, like, yeah.
Yeah, also, I don't know if you've made anything at all before, but if you can self-produce your piece of work, then that helps a lot. I self-produced as I said before, my first film, and then after the release of it, I then gained attention from producers. So, I think anything that you can, and I didn't know anything about producing. It wasn't like I knew what the hell I was doing. I was just like, oh, okay, I know I need someone to shoot it, and I know I need to record sound, and that was about it. And that's literally all I had. And my friend was an extra pair of hands on set. So if you can do that, then I would say to do it. And then like I said, then other people see your work, and then they're like, oh, okay. So it can work that way as well.
I've also just done a project where someone came to me with a really amazing film idea and asked me to produce it, but I didn't have enough resource to do it myself at that time. So instead of doing it myself, I asked someone who I work with to work with me on it, and just kind of mentored her through that process. And it was so easy for both of us, because there was someone who had time for the day-to-day, and she didn't necessarily come in knowing exactly what she was doing. But if you're like sitting in the audience and you have a bit of that experience and you want to give it a go at producing, then speak to someone like a more senior producer and ask them if they can mentor you through that, because it's fairly straightforward once you get going. Straightforward.
Also, I'll just quickly add, just credits. Everyone, all the crew members you want to know about, all the producers, all the art directors are all in the credits of your favorite short films. So just yeah, if you're really on that networking life, which I'm not, you can do that.
Professional stalking.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to basically add to that. Like, you know, if you see sort of music videos or short films that you like on Instagram, maybe even some of them more low-budget ones, if that's maybe what your film is going to be, reach out to those producers, reach out to those production managers, reach out to those PAs, and, like, you might have to reach out to, like, 40. I don't know what, you know, the budget's going to be on it, and someone will come back and someone will love the idea. Because when I first started, had people reaching out on Instagram after a couple of music videos I did for like, you know, 100 quid, you know? So I guess that's kind of the way. That's how I got into it anyway, as a producer. So yeah.
Yeah, also, I guess now we've got just loads of advice, innit? Yeah, but just looking at, you know, production companies that you like on social media, and then like chances are producers are following those companies. So just scroll down that list, innit, and just like check that out, and then maybe send them a DM or whatever it is.
Thank you. Any more hurdles that you want to throw at us?
Hi, I just want to say that if there are any mythical producers in this room, I'm looking for somebody to produce a nice queer romantic short film, so hit me up afterwards. Self-plug. Yeah, so probably a lot of us in here deal with anxieties and stuff, and I know you're talking a lot about professional stalking. How the hell do you do that when you have anxiety? How do you just kind of like push past that when you are sending messages to like studio producers, like PAs and runners and stuff? How do you deal with that, you know, because I just don't want to embarrass myself.
I can't answer that one.
I think the answer is you're embarrassing yourself. And yeah, it's really, really hard reaching out to people. I get it every day when I'm reaching out to production designers or DPs. Like, it's not something that like suddenly goes away. I guess it's like the amount you do, and like, you know, there's a level. You can be persistent as you want. It doesn't matter if people's inboxes are full. Like someone will come back, and I know that's like a hard thing to say, but I still have it every day, and I just keep pushing.
It's like there's a lot of throwing something at the wall until it sticks. Like, if you think about it, most people are receiving tons and tons of DMs and emails every day, and like, you're going to throw it at someone and it will stick, and your project will speak to them in a way that it might not have spoken to someone else, and there's no embarrassment involved. Like, people are used to receiving pitches and everything.
And also, sorry.
Now you've got something to say.
Yeah. On the anxiety front, before we came up here, we were super anxious. Like, we were just like, she was shitting herself. So I think it's just like faking it till you make it. Like, just writing it out and just going through that uncomfortable space, and you'll just be proud of yourself when you come out the other end. You just have to literally just go through it, and you'll be fine, babe. Don't worry.
Any more?
I was just going to add to the email stuff. Like, if you don't get a response, like, just always follow up, because people genuinely miss emails, or they just forget. Like, right now I've got unread emails in my inbox just because I don't want to forget to reply to them. But it's like some of them might be from 10 days ago and I still haven't got round to doing it. And so I just think just because you don't get a response doesn't mean that the person thinks you're shit or the person doesn't care. So yeah, always remind it. And then, because when people do that to me, I'm like, oh my God, so sorry, I was meant to get back to this. So yeah, I think, yeah, just remember that as well.
Anyone else from the audience?
Hey.
Hi.
I just wanted to actually add to that. I've got a question. But scripts. You write scripts, right? Yeah, I write direct. So, jeez! So like, something that helped me, I have introverted tendencies, I have decent social skills. So what helped me was writing like templates. So I'd like, almost like as if I'm texting my friend, and I'd be like, that's my opening email to message somebody, and then it's like, I have a template for follow-up, I have a template for blah, blah, and I copy and paste.
Yeah, then you don't have to think about it over and over again.
Yeah.
Just that.
And everyone's like, wow, you're so personable in your emails, you're so friendly. I'm like, right. Because it's like, I've mastered the kisses and the where to put the exclamation mark, so just go for it. My question, though, is, so I am more interested in cinematography. And the projects I want to kind of work on, I want to collaborate with a range of different people to kind of create and build stories organically. I have concepts, so it would be more like a created by, but I want to work with different people. And whilst it's like feeling the love and the enthusiasm, getting the momentum and getting people to actually, almost like you're chasing people up to do stuff. So I think it's, how do we, I kind of want to understand, like, how do I chase people up to be like, hey, you want to write something based on this idea, let's develop it, but then also broaden the pool of writers or directors who can create something that's in the similar taste and style and aesthetic. How does one balance that simultaneously?
When you say chase people up, do you mean people that are not like on it, or what do you mean by that? Sorry.
Like people who are on it.
Okay.
So you know how like the process, like with Thea, you're like in this for 3 years, right, for your feature, where it's like these back and forths. And Ella, you were lucky enough where it was like 3 months turnaround, right? But there's like, everyone can come with the same level of enthusiasm, but you have like certain obstacles. It's the kind of trying to keep the momentum going of that fire and being like, hey, we still have something great. Let's actually develop it.
Well, when I started out, well, I'm still quite new to it, but like, I think when you start out, you're always trying to like reach out to people who have a bit more experience, and you're like trying to like, I think it's important to look around you, look across, not above, you know? I think reach out to people who have the same hunger as you know? Because at the end of the day, like you can't really control people's work ethic. You can't really force people to believe in your idea or what you want to do. But like, just literally look to people who have the same will and energy to do something. And like, you're gonna get a lot of like discouraging, you know, scenarios, and you're gonna get a lot of people kind of dropping the ball on you. Like with the first short film, I had 2 actors who were like super involved throughout the entire process, but like a week before shooting it, they dropped out. And so I had to find someone else, or, you know, I had to find 2 other people to replace them. So I think it's just like, you're gonna get into these hurdles, but literally just work with people who are as hungry as you, who wanna do it. And then if you run into situations that are like, you know, that are not fruitful for what you wanna do, you'll find another opportunity. That's just the aim of the game. It's just the rat race. So, and also no one is gonna believe in you more than you believe in yourself. So that really has to carry you. Otherwise, because it's hard out here. And especially being a Black DOP as well, there's not many, you know? And so what I would say to you as well is find female DOPs. A lot of them are also looking to like mentor people. After this, I'll send you something, don't worry. But yeah, just do that. Have healthy delusion, baby.
I would also say if you're chatting to people, just keep giving yourselves deadlines. And just make them like real deadlines so that everyone sees because it's really nice when you're kind of developing something, the talking and the creativity and the engagement and everything, but it's really easy to just keep going and going and going, and when nothing starts to happen, people lose interest. So just deadlines.
Less talk, more action. Yeah, I think, and also it's just, if it's your thing, you just propulsion, is that the right word? Has to come from you anyway. So it's like even on a feature, the 2 to 3 years thing that's just how long it takes. And that's quick, to be honest, for a feature. It's not like things take way longer than that. But even then, with everyone so keen to do it, it's like every few days I'm still like messaging my producer, oh, what was the feedback from this meeting? Oh, can you let me know this? Oh, can you let me know that? So it's just like a constant thing that has to come from you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't know how we're doing for time, B. Okay, cool. I'm gonna another question to everyone, and then we'll come back to the audience.
Do you want to change your mic?
Yeah.
I think they're all freaking out.
Yeah, they are all
funny.
freaking out.
They are? Okay.
I was just going to ask everyone, what's the most rewarding project that you've made?
The most rewarding was my last short film.
Try this one.
It's like right, okay. Yeah, the most rewarding was this last short film that I did with It's not good. That I did with India. In it.
That went through our core, guys. Like.
And that was rewarding because we had, first of all, it was an idea that came from the heart, and everyone that was involved was so ready and up to do it. Like, it just, like, I couldn't have asked for a better team and for a better process. And like, people shit on producers quite a lot because they're control freaks and they're a bit annoying. But this girl, like, she actually cares, and you can really see that. And she was involved in every single part of the process, like from the creative to the financial aspect. She was just there, and and I'm a bit of a control freak too. So like, even though my job was to focus on the creative, sometimes I would want to like see how the other aspects were doing. And she was like, babe, I got you. Let me do my job, you know? So yeah, it was just super nice for me.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, this was the most rewarding project I've ever done also. I'm so glad that we met and we made it. I think something you said earlier, which was about looking across and not above, something that's really resonated with me through the whole process of doing this. Like, for example, like our art director on this job, Chennai, amazing. I mean, she literally smashed it out the park, really, really junior, really green. And I mean, like, unbelievable. And she's now working on music videos with you, and that's now going to be a relationship which probably is with you, for the next 10 years. And I see that, and I'm like, that is so exciting. This amazing bond has been formed, and it like reminds me of when I first started making like music videos, like 8 years ago or something, and like those relationships I made with people then. I didn't even know what a gaffer was. I thought it was tape. Like, I'm still working with those same people, and we've grown together, you know. And I really saw that happen on this set, and it was magic. So, yeah.
I think I've had a lot of rewarding moments. Is it working? Yeah. I've had a lot of rewarding moments doing this feature, and just like of it coming from such a personal space, and it being picked up by the companies it's been picked up by. But I think the most rewarding was probably my first short film, and also just again, like you mentioned in the relationships that you meet earlier on, that's when I formed the working relationship with my DP, Alan Koladi, who's now attached to shoot my feature. It's like, that was such a pivotal time for both of us, for him in the narrative space particularly, and me just in general. And also because I made that film just wanting to create acting work for myself and my peers, and I just thought, fuck it, let's just write something. And so I wasn't ever expecting it to do the things it did. And I remember I submitted it to Sundance Ignite. It's like a fellowship program with Sundance, and that lasts a year, which is still going. I think if you're under 25, you can still submit. Every year is free to submit. Anyway, and it got into Sundance Ignite, and I remember seeing the email and just crying, because I was like... And that's such a pure moment that I probably won't ever have again. I don't think I'll ever be that emotional. Well, probably will, but in my head, I'm just like, it was such a significant moment for me. So yeah, and I think also because I had done it all myself, just because I was just like, fuck it, let's do it. And that self-belief that you need to carry you forward has got me where I am today. So, yeah.
It's hard because there is so many like rewarding moments. But yeah, I think my last short film, Something in the Closet, I made it because I wanted to I guess, make a queer story that didn't revolve around sadness, not everyday sadness, you know. But then I had so many people telling me I couldn't make it in terms of like, oh, this is like, the budget is too much. And I was like, I've made shorts on literally nothing, like we can get by on it. Or like, this is too ambitious, and it's like, what does that even mean? Why would you even say that to me? You don't know about me, you know, all those things. So like,
I hate people's projections, you know, that pisses me off.
I was like, you don't know my life, you know? Or, you know, and then also just getting together a team before we even had any money, and it was rewarding to like, you know, put together that team. I love like trying to set up a nucleus of people that I can constantly work with. And so, yeah, like my cinematographer, my producer, my composers are people that I'm working with now on my feature. And so like, even just having that relationship being nurtured up until now is like, looking back on it, it's super rewarding as well. So yeah, I think it's like every step of the way, like the process of making that short and then have it like do well on the festival circuit, that then brought me up into like the TV world and shit. Like, yeah, it was all good.
I think that's really important as well, that building your team before you've got any money. Like, don't be afraid to ask people to join on your project if you don't have any funding yet, because when you do go for funding, if a funder can see that you do have a team around you, then they're going to be like, okay, this person is serious and they want to make this.
I think we have time for a couple more questions. 10 minutes.
Any more questions?
Hi. Okay, I think it works. Okay, cool. I just wanted to ask some advice, because you guys have all done shorts first, and then I know you guys are doing your features now, but I have a feature that I'm writing, and I really want that to be my first. So I just wanted to know, like, any kind of advice that you guys would give me, because, again, like Nosa just said, the main thing that I've been told is that I'm being a bit too ambitious with what I want to do. There's too many locations, there's too many like different kind of things, and I just want to, and I'm just like, no, in my head, because it's like, I really want to tell this story, and I really want to tell it as authentically as I can, but I want that to be my first, without having to do like a short and establishing like something there, because I feel like there is a community around me of people that I can get on board and who actually see this vision and are interested. So yeah, just any advice on writing a feature and then also getting funding.
Yeah. Wait, we already met. I don't know what's going on.
I think you need to speak a little bit closer.
Okay. Yeah, and is it the same feature? So I think, like, don't be afraid of doing a short though, or not afraid, but like, I feel like doing a short is still a good idea. If you take, like, I don't know, a scene or a couple scenes out of that feature and make that into a short with the people that you have around you, use your university equipment. When I was at LCC, I used my student loan to just buy a bunch of equipment and make films. Do you know what I mean? Might still be paying that off back. You know, but it helped me onto the next step. In terms of like writing a feature, personally, I always think that structure is like really important in terms of like knowing how to structurally tell a story. And like, I basically at that time when I was in uni made sure that I was trying to figure out how to do that. So then when I moved into directing, I already knew how to write. And it was literally just watching a lot of like TV shows and figuring out the act breaks in that TV show. And then just keep my mind doing that. So then I could be like, okay, the conflict is here. This is what comes next, and all that sort of stuff. On the internet, there's so many examples of like, you know, act structures, whether that's like, you know, Shakespeare has a bunch. I personally use the 5-act structure because I think it fits for TV and film. But yeah, and then there's like, you know, the book Save the Cat, which everyone really likes for features as well. But yeah, figuring out like, I'm assuming that you're consuming, you know, TV and film and all that all the time. So like while you're doing that, have your brain working like this is how that thing is structurally telling its story, and then bring that into your story, you know, because it trains your brain up really, really well for that.
Yeah, I would say in terms of getting funding and stuff, I'm not gonna bullshit you. I don't know. I didn't make a feature in that way. So I had a handful of short films to prove that I could direct and that I could write. And I know it's jarring to hear someone tell you to do something shorter first, but like it's very beneficial, not even just for other people to believe in you, because fuck all that if you believe in yourself, do you know what I mean? But it's for you to learn as well, because it's hard. Writing a feature is hard. Directing a feature is gonna be hard. Like it's a lot of people involved, and you can do it yourself if you want to do a micro budget thing and whatever, but it's gonna take a lot of your resources, a lot of your time. On a real, you probably won't make any money from it if you're doing it that way, because like when you do have funders and everyone else involved, you're gonna have access to sales agents, you're gonna have access to distribution. That's where your deal is gonna come from. That's where your money's gonna come from. So like, yeah, I'm not trying to do this whole fairy, you can do it stuff, because it's really hard. Like, and it takes a long time. Like, also, if I had, where I'm at now, if I had just went off the first draft of my feature with no one else involved, it would be dead. And obviously you think that is great, right? The first time you read it, you're like, oh, I just wrote 100 pages. Like, what the fuck? I couldn't even write 5. And now I've got 100. But where it's come, like, and this is with development, it's been development BFI, film 4 are now involved. This is 16 drafts later. This is not a joke, babe. I'm just trying to be real. Like, honestly, like, it's not a joke. It's hard. So I think as much experience as you can get, just with yourself, whether it's writing, even if no one sees it, like just writing stuff. I definitely echo this. I personally hate books and stuff that prescribe writing, but I try to find the examples in real TV and film. So like as I started writing the feature, I watched like very like cult classic films that I know have done well. Not that I was trying to emulate that to an extent, but like I remember watching Thelma and Louise, every 5 minutes pausing it, writing down what happened in the film, in that all the beats, as you said, of the film, because then I had like a real example of it rather than like reading it in a book, which just me personally, I can't ever get in my head. But yeah, I mean, on the other side of it, there's other ways to fund films like crowdfunding and everything else. But yeah, I think definitely have some examples before. It's just gonna help you and everyone else involved.
Yeah, like going back to what I said before, like at the beginning, it's like I think short films are really the hardest thing to make, harder than anything long form, because short film, you're forged in the fire, do you know what I mean? Like you're going through it, everyone is going through it, and you're just like, how am I gonna get to the end of the day with all of the shots I need? But you figure it out. But if you then just start on the feature, it's just, you're not gonna be able to just jump straight there, do you know what I mean?
We've got one more question. Here we go.
Hi, this might be a silly question, but...
No silly question.
Thanks. So I direct, but my thing is, and I want to make my first short, but my thing is I have like so many ideas of like different ones, and I'm just wondering in terms of like production, so like realistically with like a low budget, what would you recommend sort of in the thought process of like what should be your first thing to make, and also thinking in mind that you like will probably have an idea that I know could like be a series or something like that. Yeah, so if you have any recommendations for that thinking process.
So when I did Run, how we kept the budget low and how I kind of knew that I could make it quite easily is that it was all, we shot in one location. It was a football pitch. It was an overcast day, which isn't hard to find in London. So the light was quite easy to control. We didn't have to have lighting. We got free production value because people were in the park in the background, out of focus. The second short film, again, we shot it in the estate I grew up in, so all the locations were very close to each other. We shot it in one day again. So I just think like thinking about those things, because every time you do a unit move, you're losing hours. Money and hours. So if you can try and find a location that works, that you can shoot in one day, then that helps. Also, people are more likely to work for cheaper or work for free if they're your friends, if it's only going to take one day. When you start moving to various days, it's like, oh. Yeah. Yeah.
Nah, start you, babes. Go.
With my first short film, like I said, I did it on 800 pounds, which is absolutely nothing. So I'm gonna just lay it out for you step by step. So I did my treatment, and then I was like, okay, I need to find a DOP. And I wasn't gonna reach out to the bigger DOPs because they were just, for me, I was like, they're gonna laugh in my face. So this is what I mean, like looking across, not above. So I reached out to, the smaller DOPs who, would probably be a bit more keen to work. And so I reached out to like 3, 2 of them didn't get back to me. 1 did, and he was like, yeah, I'm down. We got on a call, he was trying to mansplain me, trying to like change my idea, and I was like, no. I know what I'm talking about. He's actually, me and him are good friends now, but he was like, I rated that even though you don't really know what you're doing, you stuck on your idea. And then after that, I reached out to a few editors. A few of them got back to me, but I really wanted to work with the female editor on this one, and Lainey. She just had so much enthusiasm, and I was like, yes, this is what I need for my project, and this is what is gonna carry me through when, shit gets rough. And then, after that, I did, my casting. Like I said, with the casting, like, people were backing out, someone got COVID, even prior to the day of shooting, like, we were gonna have, a rainy day, and so we had to push the shoot back several weeks, and like at points, like I was just like, I can't make this, like it's hard. I work a full-time job, but my friends were like, Ella, just do it, just keep going. So you really, having that support system, having belief in yourself, also allowing yourself to have the space to like cry and kind of moan and, doubt yourself a bit. Allow yourself that, because it's tough. Like, I'm not even gonna bullshit you, it's not easy. And also, as a Black woman, it's gonna be, difficult for you because it's predominantly white, it's predominantly male. So yeah, just walk into a room with your dick in your hand, you're gonna be good.
How do you even follow that?
I was just gonna say, I think like part of what you were wondering as well is like how to choose which of the many ideas swirling around your head to put on paper. And I think like maybe there's I don't write, I don't direct, I'm just chatting shit. But I think probably if you close your eyes, there's one that feels strongest to you.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like the first thing I ever made was actually like an episode of a TV show. It like made its way to like digital TV, not like broadcast TV, but I did it on like £500. And at the time, I worked in Topshop Oxford Circus, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
But everyone in there is creative, and it was just me just being like, yo, I'm making this, like on the slide, like on my breaks, being like, I'm making this, like I know that you are a stylist, do you want to do costume, and blah, blah, basically looking at your peers, and then being like, okay, this is my own money, but, and I know like this, TV show thing is not the easiest thing to shoot, but it's the thing that I'm most passionate about. I'm gonna make it work. And then just like scheduling with the actors that I got, days over 8 months that they were free and that I was free to make it. And then literally just hustling, friends and favors, like getting locations like that. So if it's like something that you're like, this might be hard to make, but I'm mad passionate about it, you'll find a way to make it work. Just make sure that you have like a support system in your friends and in your crew. And yeah, there's days where you're like, maybe I should just give up, But then like you don't, because something's pushing you along. And like obviously for me, it was just like, I'm shit at everything else. But this is one thing I know I can do. So, you just have to find that within you.
I think that's us.
Yeah, if you want to wrap up now, Beth.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone on the panel, but mostly thanks to everyone in the audience for coming down. That was fun.